What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and it's Top 10 Thursday. Storytelling in games has really been taken to a whole new level. Developers are creating characters so deep and complex that you can genuinely miss them when they're killed off. This week, I wanted to honor the heroes that hurt the most to lose on my picks of the top 10 saddest deaths in gaming. Number 10. Dominic, Santiago. Cover-based shooters are typically pretty thin on plot. One exception though is the original Gears of War trilogy, which introduced us to a world that was on the brink of destruction. The last remaining humans are forced to band together in a fight against the monstrous Locust. While every soldier pays a heavy price, nothing was more personal than Dom. On the first day of the war, his entire family is killed except for his wife. After spending years searching for her, in Gears 2 he finds her, but she's been reduced to a tortured shell of what she once was. This discovery ruins him. In Gears of War 3, the members of Delta Squad get trapped in an ambush, and seeing no other way out, Dom decides to steal a car and ram a fuel tank to wipe out the enemy. This sacrifice does save his team, but it really hits home at the same time, because his final words are to his wife, tearfully joking that the end isn't always what we expect. Number 9. Agro. The story in Shadow of the Colossus is mostly done through action instead of words. In fact, our lead character doesn't even have a name, he's simply labeled as the Wanderer. During the opening of the game, he carries a woman to a dark place called the Forbidden Zone in hopes of unlocking a power to bring her back from beyond the doors of death. There's an old god who's locked away here, and it promises that if the Wanderer can find and kill the 16 giants that roam this land, the Wanderer's female companion will return to life. One by one, the creatures are slain, and as each is felled, there's a sense of grief that happens. The bosses we beat seem more like simple animals than deadly foes. Their only reason for fighting us is self-defense. When it comes time to destroy the final Colossus, all light has left the land, and now the Wanderer pays the final price in losing his last remaining friend. His horse, Agro, has been by his side for this entire epic journey, but while crossing the bridge to the Great Valley, it collapses. The Wanderer is thrown up onto a ledge, and from here he can only watch in horror as his steed falls hundreds of feet down to its doom. In a game that's all about silent struggle, this perfectly highlighted that sometimes the quest for good can still cost you more than you ever imagined. Number 8. The Boss. Back before Big Boss ever earned his title, another person carried that rank. This woman was Snake's mentor and arguably one of the deadliest people alive. Decades of training made her the master of every weapon, and she even invented her own form of hand-to-hand combat. When she mysteriously vanished from America and joined a group of terrorists, Snake was sent in to stop her. When he finally catches up with her, the two super soldiers come face to face in a field of flowers. The boss admits that this whole mission has been one big government plan. Her betraying the country, giving nuclear weapons to the enemy, all the people that died was part of a plan to obtain extremely vital information. Now her last duty is to die, to make sure that the world never finds out this secret. The boss uses her machine gun to force Snake to fight with all of his strength, and at the end he takes her down using the hand-to-hand combat she taught him. He picks up her gun, called the Patriot, and uses it to shoot her. As she fades from the world, the sea of flowers becomes the same shade of red as her blood, and we're left with a pained Snake dealing with the consequences of his actions. Number 7. Cole Phelps. Our hero in LA Noire is a very conflicted person. After surviving the horrors of World War II, he just wants to settle down and help people in his own way. Getting a job at the police station, he quickly rises to the rank of detective. When a scandal comes out that Cole's been cheating on his wife, he's demoted to investigating house fires so he'll stay out of the public eye. Even though this is supposed to be a simple position, Cole still manages to get himself caught up in a case involving a crazy serial arsonist. Tracking him to the sewers of Los Angeles, the fire-loving murderer takes several hostages, including the woman that Cole cheated with. Cole manages to defeat the madman and rescue the captives, but while helping them out of the tunnels, the area starts swiftly flooding. Using the last of his strength, he lifts everybody up to safety, but then he sees a giant wall of water coming straight for him. He knows that this is the end. He doesn't have enough in him to actually get up and escape. He looks up at his longtime partner and simply utters the word, "Goodbye." This is one of those rare games that actually has a funeral, and seeing the broken family that's now left behind makes the effect of him being dead all the more real. Number 6. Admiral Anderson. The whole Mass Effect universe is filled with gut-wrenching moments, but nothing quite tops this quiet, heartfelt conversation at the end of Mass Effect 3. Shepard at this point has united all the forces in the galaxy into a massive army to try and stop Harbinger, a living dreadnought hell-bent on wiping out all life in existence. During the full frontal assault to try and get to the beacon and stop this monster, Shepard is separated from his team. Using a teleporter, he's landed on the Citadel, and now he needs to find a way to activate it to hopefully stop the Reapers from carrying out their disastrous goal. Wandering the hallways, he comes upon Admiral Anderson and the elusive man. While Anderson pleads with Shepard to use the powers of the Citadel to blow the Reapers up, the elusive man instead claims that directly controlling them is of far more use. To demonstrate that this is possible, the elusive man taps into Shepard's mind and makes him shoot Anderson in the stomach. In his rage, Shepard breaks the chains of influence and kills the elusive man. As Anderson slumps down dying, he admits to our hero that he saw him as almost a son. A lifetime of battle never let him fully connect with anyone, until Shepard showed him a different side of humanity. Number 5. Cortana. In the Halo series, we see Master Chief stuck in a lot of harsh situations, facing certain death over and over, and yet somehow coming out alive each time. This is in large part due to the flawless teamwork of his AI companion Cortana. While Chief is fast on the trigger, Cortana is always 2 steps ahead with the next brilliant idea for getting them both out of trouble. Everything's perfect except for one small issue. AI only last an average of 7 years. After that, they slowly degrade until they stop existing altogether. Master Chief knows this, and even during the opening credits of Halo 4, we can already see the early stages of this setting in. When it comes time for their showdown with the ancient evil warrior called the Didact, he throws up a force field to escape. Cortana thinks fast, and she figures out a way to use her insanity to their advantage, and decides to download herself into the Didact's computer. Once inside, her fractured mind shatters into 1,000 shards. Each one of these clones overwhelms the system in a different way, and allows the Chief to defeat him. As the ship explodes, one shard of Cortana says farewell to Master Chief one last time. We can't see his face, but the agony he experiences is clear in his behavior. Earth's greatest warrior loses the only friend who ever truly knew him. Number 4. John Marsden. The tale of Red Dead Redemption is pretty rough. John has led a bad life. In his younger years, he was a ruthless outlaw who hurt a lot of people. But as he grew up, he saw the error of his ways and he cleaned up his act. As a reformed man, he got married, even had a kid. Settling down seemed easy. That is, until the day the law came calling. The government tracked him down and gave him 2 options: find and kill his old crew, or face the wrath for his past crimes. John took the first choice and set to work hunting his ex-partners. At the end of the dirty deed, he returns home, expecting life to be smooth again. Sadly, things are rarely that straightforward. The government comes once again, but this time all they want is John's blood. He puts his wife and son on a horse and makes them leave, giving her a final parting kiss. Staring down the US forces, he knows his survival is impossible and the only justice they want is from his corpse, so he steps outside to be blown to bits. What hurts the most about this is that after the dust is cleared, we see John Marsden's grave, and now we're playing as his adult son, Jack. It beautifully shows that the cycle of life will always keep turning, even amidst the chaos. Number 3. Lee Everett. Telltale Games is famous for great writing, but of all the characters they've made, none feels more personable than Lee. On the day the zombie apocalypse broke out, he was being transferred to prison. When a walker stumbles into the road, the driver loses control, sending them tumbling off a cliff. Through sheer luck, Lee manages to survive, and now he's left searching the countryside for help. It's here that he finds Clementine, a young girl whose parents have gone missing. Since leaving her behind in this dark house isn't an option, he brings her along. Their quest for safety has many highs and lows, from friends who betray them to the constant fear of the walking dead. Lee and Clementine depend on each other for everything. Eventually, Lee is bit, and he knows there can only be one outcome. As his life bleeds out of him, Lee has Clementine handcuff him to a radiator. In this journey, Lee has taught her many lessons, but at the end, there's only one thing left to learn: the proper use of a gun. Lee instructs her on what to do, closes his eyes, and waits for the inevitable. The Walking Dead games are such an emotional roller coaster, but seeing Clementine handling the impossible burden of having to execute someone who's been her savior, her buddy, the center of her world, is just too much. Number 2. Aerith Gainsborough. Perhaps the most well-known tragic moment in gaming history is the death of Aerith. When we first meet her, she's just a flower girl living in the slums, but she's soon caught up in the madness of Cloud and his mission to stop Sephiroth. Aerith stands apart from the other people in Final Fantasy VII because she has this odd sense of wisdom, a depth, like she truly understands the full weight and importance of saving the planet. She even goes so far as to abandon the team to try and unlock the powers of Lifestream by herself. Sneaking away in the middle of the night, Aerith ventures down into the Forgotten Capital. This ancient glass palace was home to the Citra, a people who wielded amazing magical abilities. By praying there, she hoped to gain the knowledge needed to protect the world. Cloud and the party search for Aerith, trying to look everywhere to see where she went, and they discover her just in time to see Sephiroth swoop down and impale her with his massive blade. It's a scene of utter shock. Aerith was so sweet and smart. Her being taken out by a horrible monster like Sephiroth is just awful. Cloud takes her body and lays it to rest in a pool of the Lifestream, where we see her slowly sink to the bottom. It's a soul-shattering death that leaves our heroes just empty. Number 1. Sarah. The start of The Last of Us shows us the downfall of society. Joel is forced to flee the city to avoid the spreading undead plague. Listening to radio reports, it's clear that this is a global pandemic, so his main priority is getting his daughter out of harm's way. While traveling through town, they hit traffic and they have to abandon the car to escape on foot. Carrying Sarah in his arms, they try and take a shortcut through a ditch where they encounter a soldier. The military has set up a strict quarantine, and unfortunately, what that means is this soldier is forced to open fire. Joel throws himself backwards down the hill to try and avoid the incoming bullets, and while he ends up unharmed, Sarah ends up taking one to the gut. Joel is stuck helplessly watching his only child bleed to death right in front of him. While most of the deaths on this list happen at the end of the game, Sarah's takes place right at the beginning. From here, our hero is seen carrying these emotional wounds throughout the years. With every hard decision he makes, he'll glance at his watch, the last gift that his daughter gave him, a constant reminder that his choices have already cost too much. The loss he feels is terrible, and we bear it right along with him for the entire game, and for that reason, it wins my pick as the absolute saddest death in gaming. Did your favorite fallen hero not make the list? Got an idea for a future top 10? Leave it in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go read a little bit of Dr. Halsley's journal. This is part of the Halo 4 Collector's Edition, and it tells some pretty interesting details about Cortana, so maybe it'll make me miss her not quite so much. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, maybe check out my last video. Please subscribe, and if you want, share this somewhere with your friends.